because they just keep getting pummeled at the ballot box, in Congress, with these executive orders. In terms of eyeballs and cultural attention, you're seeing their news networks collapse because they're losing everything. The libs are turning to terrorism. And I mean that totally sincerely, without any hyperbole. There has been a growing campaign among radical leftists to commit terrorism, to torch people's cars, specifically Teslas, in protest of Elon Musk, because Elon Musk is sacrificing his private fortune and private interests, business interests, in order to help America and help President Trump to clean up the federal government. Well, now the leftist terrorists are taking it a step further. There's a report out from the UK Independent about a website called DogeQuest. DogeQuest doxes people who own Teslas nationwide. I guess there's some database of Tesla owners. DogeQuest reveals their names and their addresses. The site reveals the names, addresses, phone numbers of Tesla owners on an interactive map, and the cursor on the map is a Molotov cocktail. In case you thought they were being a little too subtle. It's very clear. They're revealing private information so that they can encourage people to commit violence against the Tesla owners. The only way you can remove your information from the website is if you prove that you've sold your Tesla. Otherwise, your information is going to be out there and wackos are going to be encouraged to commit violence against you, maybe throw a Molotov cocktail at you. This is not the first time we've seen the left do this. The last time that the left did this was in the 1960s. And they did it. We had the Weather Underground, terrorists who killed all sorts of people and then went on to become mentors to Barack Obama like Bill Ayers did, and to be revered and to be given cushy positions at universities by the left. But they committed terrorism. And what is terrorism? People throw that word around. Terrorism has a specific meaning. It's when you target civilians with violence to achieve political ends. And that's what's happening here. Just ordinary people who buy nice cars. There's an irony here, which is that a lot of Tesla owners are super liberal because Tesla, being an electric car that's quite expensive, previously coded left. So you had a bunch of libs in blue cities who were buying them, for climate change or whatever. So it is kind of ironic that the left is doxing their own right now. But it's not good even if it is leftists who own it. Now they're just demanding that people sell them. Okay, this is what the left did in the 60s. Conservatives shouldn't be complacent about this because eventually, Americans got sick of the political violence and the tumult, and they elected Richard Nixon, then they re-elected Richard Nixon in a landslide, and then the deep state had to do a coup d'etat on Richard Nixon because the people loved him so much. But the left did get a lot of what it wanted. The left did get a lot. I mean, that was a major cultural revolution in the 1960s. It upended our government. It upended American society. It upended how we view ourselves and human identity. We are experiencing another such cultural moment right now. And that's why the peaceful transfer of power has not been all that peaceful. And most of the violence, by the way, has come from the left. As we continue to celebrate the victory of our 47th president, there's no better way than to introduce the 4547 Patriot Edition American whiskey produced by the team at Wise Spirits right here in our hometown of Nashville. Their masterfully crafted American whiskey pays homage to the very essence of our great nation. Celebrating its rich history and vibrant culture, each batch is carefully selected from the finest barrels, with each drop representing a testament to precision and quality. Best part is, this whiskey is made by patriots, for patriots, and embodying the spirit of the American dream. I find, too, sometimes with whiskeys, I like to collect them. Really special ones, like a whiskey from your town or something, or a whiskey from a special occasion. I'll throw a bottle just in the cupboard. This is one of those whiskeys too. So I would recommend, you enjoy sipping the whiskey, but then maybe you also save a bottle. That's what I would do. Experience the 4547 Patriot Edition whiskey, where every sip tells a powerful story of heritage, craftsmanship, and indomitable pride. Please drink responsibly. 4547 Premium American Whiskey, 46% alcohol by volume, copyright 2025. Wise Spirits, Nashville, Tennessee. Must be 21 years or older. Now, speaking of violent criminals, the libs are continuing to defend Tren de Aragua. They are continuing to defend not only the illegal aliens who haven't committed any crimes since they crossed the border, and they're just sweet little abuelas who are cooking croquetas for their grandchildren, and who would want to deport them? The libs are defending face-tattooed Satan-worshipping gangsters, and the White House has a response. Stephen Miller, the Deputy White House Chief of Staff and an all-around immigration, deportation guru, very important advisor to President Trump, has just gone on television to defend the White House's use of the Alien Enemies Act of 1798 to deport these violent criminals, because many leftists are arguing that that's a very old law, and the White House has no business invoking some law from the 18th century to actually deport criminals today. Here's what Stephen Miller, on behalf of the White House, has to say.
This is settled law, to use that common phrase, Sean. This is settled law. Alien Enemies Act has been on the books and has been upheld for over 200 years. And by the way, the fact that it's a 200-year-old law makes it stronger. This was adopted by the founding generation of our country. The people who wrote the Constitution wrote this law because they understood when America is being invaded by a hostile power, the president is at the height of his authorities to turn back that invasion.
So he's totally right on the point, but I want to just zoom in on that phrase, settled law, which Stephen Miller calls attention to. He chose that phrase specifically because the left always uses that phrase. But they don't use that phrase to refer to truly enduring, long-standing aspects of our law. They don't use that phrase to refer to our traditional constitutional protections. What's more settled than the Constitution? No. They want to get rid of the Second Amendment. They want to rewrite the First Amendment. They want to rewrite the actual articles of the Constitution to change the way that the government works. They don't respect the Constitution at all. That's an outdated document. But when it comes to something like the Roe v. Wade Supreme Court decision, a completely frivolous decision, even understood as such by liberals at the time, then that's settled law, and we can never question settled law. So Stephen Miller comes out, he says, well, what's more settled than the Alien Enemies Act of 1798? It's been used by 4 different presidents. It's been on the books for 125 years. I don't know. It seems pretty settled to me. Sorry, 200, not 125 years, 225 years. Doesn't that seem pretty settled? This is a theme of MAGA and the Trump White House. The theme is hoisting the left with its own petard. Non-Trump Republicans, pre-Trump Republicans, didn't really do that so much. We would hear in the pre-Trump Republican era, well, we don't want to wield power when we're given power because then imagine what the left would do to us. I sound like a broken record on that point, but in other ways too. The Republicans would say, well, we don't want to wield power and reward our friends and punish our enemies. That would make us no better than the left. In other words, they say, look, the left encourages bad stuff and discourages good stuff. But if we encourage good stuff and discourage bad stuff, that would make us no different from the left, except it would make you very different from the left because good and bad are different. Encouraging good is a lot different. It's actually the opposite of encouraging bad. And so here, Trump is not saying, no, I'm not going to refer to settled law. I'm not going to wield the civil rights regime. There's another good example. President Trump, when he's moving to defund Columbia University, because Columbia University is encouraging all kinds of radical leftist protests, he is defunding Columbia on the basis of civil rights law. Civil rights law, the civil rights regime was the left's wheelhouse. Hold on, the civil rights regime is only supposed to be used by leftists to harm conservatives. What is Trump doing? Well, Trump is hoisting the left with its own petard. That's what they're doing here. You say, okay, the left comes out and rewrites the country, creates a new constitution with its civil rights regime, creates a new form of jurisprudence by referring to settled law in very specific and selective ways. Okay. And Trump says, well, I'm going to do that too. And I'm going to reward my friends. And I'm going to punish my enemies. And I'm going to wield the state against bad corporations. And I'm going to do the same kind of stuff you liberals do, except you do it for bad ends, and I'm going to do it for good ends. You do it in an unjust way. I'm going to do it in a just way. And the libs don't know how to respond to it. I really hope and trust that you liked that clip. Did you? Did you? Good. If you did, ring the bell and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.